Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. I'm returning with Flosstube number 11. This is Friday, January 20, 2023. So happy to have you here. My subscribers, my wonderful faithful viewers, I'm so happy you're back. And if you're new, welcome. I'm so happy that you are here and hope you like what you see and will subscribe. I would also like to know how you came across my video, if it popped up on your feed or if you heard someone shout me out, because I certainly want to thank anyone who shouts me out. And I also want to thank all my my faithful commenters. I love going through the comments. I love having the dialogue back and forth. You're so supportive, and I'm getting to know names virtually, but and maybe someday we'll meet at a retreat, but I do love the comments. So do take a moment to give me a comment. I appreciate that. This is going to be a little short video, but I want to stay on track. I don't want to get behind and have a whole bunch of things to cover, so I'm going to do this anyway. I want to mention just that I'm so appreciative of the Flosstubers who have mentioned the retreats they go to and share about what they saw or what they learned or what they purchased or whatever. I find that valuable, even though right now I'm not able to attend any retreats, and especially the recent retreat at the Attic in Mesa, Arizona. It was so much fun to have people, Flosstubers, talk about the wonderful time they had there, and they had a special celebration of Brenda's birthday from Brenda and the Cereal Starter. Happy birthday, Brenda. And I love hearing about what you've learned, what you saw. It's wonderful. I can enjoy it in spirit, and someday I will get there. I will get to a retreat or more than one retreat, and especially I want to go to the Attic sometime. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. I wanted to say something about a few of the comments on my last video. I went through my planning for 2023, and maybe it sounds a bit overwhelming. There were a couple people who were apologetic that they didn't have a plan set forth for their stitching in the year coming forward. And I don't want anyone to feel like they are less than because they don't plan. There are different personalities. This is my personality. I know how I work most efficiently. I work best having a list and checking things off the list. I get great satisfaction from checking things off the list. You know, after years of being like a professional student and teacher and professor and department chair, that's the way I get things done. Because if I get up and don't know what I'm going to do for the day, I have the whole universe of options available, I don't decide on anything. I just kind of, well, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, maybe whatever, and I don't accomplish. I like keeping my goal ahead of me and knowing where I'm going. You know, so if I get up and I have these chores are going to get done this day, and then when I'm done, check, check, check. Okay, now I do my stitching, and I have the rest of the day. That works for me. That makes my heart happy. But there are many people who love doing what they feel like when they feel like in their stitching life, and that's great. If that works for you, do it, and don't apologize for not having a plan. I just know that if I don't have a plan, I won't get as much done. It's just not the way I work. So make your heart happy, do what makes you happy, and don't apologize for not having a plan. There are a couple Flosstubers I watch who have, I think, very complicated plans, but they are very prolific and get a lot done. Once Upon a Stitch, Lori, she has a 2-day rotation that she does, and it works for her. And this year she's adding in several different challenges like Whip Go, and some magazine challenge or something. And she's working it in, and because she's organized, I know it'll work for her. It wouldn't work for me. That sounds overwhelming to me. And Handwork Maniac Brenda, she has many projects in progress. She's a very prolific stitcher. She has a magnet board, and she has the name of her projects on the magnet board. She knows what whips she has for the year, and she has her goals, and it works for her. It wouldn't work for me. we each have to do what works for us. So don't feel like you have to have some grand plan and announce it and put it in writing. And if that's not your personality, don't do it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so the last 2 weeks, here's my book of days. Whoops, floppy. I had 2 days when I didn't stitch at all. See over here, sad, sad. Our Shuffleboard Club hosted a district tournament, a 2-day district tournament, so I got no stitching done on those 2 days, but I did complete the 7 days on Hopkins, why can't I think? Jane Hopkins, that I started on New Year's Day. I got those 7 days done. I got 7 days done on my focus piece, and I got the 3 days done on my red sampler. So I'll show you how that worked out. Okay, my New Year's Day start was Jane Hopkins, and as I told you last time, I am determined that this is going to be the year for me to concentrate on samplers. This is Jane Hopkins, drop dead gorgeous, just really beautiful. Okay, and I showed you last time that I had gotten the border done. Whoops, let me see now, how can I show this? Okay, I got the border done, went all the way around and the border met up, and then in the additional 2 days since my last floss tube, I came down here and started doing the berries around here. I got this, I think this tree is done, and this one is well started. So I've started filling in some of the fun stuff. And I'm going to save the satin stitching on this till the end. I'm afraid I might snag it or something with my rings if I'm handling it too much. So I'll do that at the end. So that's my progress on Jane Hopkins. Sorry, I have to put it away a minute or I will have a mess. Okay, and then I had 7 days on my focus piece. And those of you who are new here will not know, and those of you who have been here a while are sick of hearing this, but my focus piece is always my oldest whip, and I spend 7 stitching days a month working on the focus piece. Where's my board? So my focus piece is Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. This is a big one. It called for 36 count, and I got the 36 count that was called for. But now that I know how big it really is, I wish I would have gone to 40 count. I'm very comfortable with 40 count, and it would have made it just a little bit smaller. Okay, so you can see I finished the house. I finished the roof, and I told you that her notes, she said that she used carriage black, and when she got to the lighter portions of the thread, she did random diamond shapes, and it does show up. I'm very happy with that. I'm happy with that roof. Now, so I finished the house, finished the fence and the lamp, and worked some more on that pot of flowers. Take a look at the house. That's stitched in Straw Bonnet, Weeks Dye Works, and I ran out of thread before I finished the house. And I'm very parsimonious with my thread. I stitch right down to the end until I hardly have enough to tuck a tail in. And I looked at the pattern, double checked, did I miss? It did not say I needed 2 skeins. So if you're getting ready to start this, you might want to buy 2 skeins of the house color because you don't want to run out. Okay, so I started this a year ago, ordered another skein, and of course it's not exactly the same because that's what happens. I'm not going to show you. I know exactly where I changed the thread, and I can see it. Of course, I put my nose 2 inches from the surface, and I see the difference. It's subtle, but I see it, but I'm not going to point it out. So if you see it, don't tell me you see it, okay? So that's Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. I'm thinking maybe next month it may get done because it's getting pretty close. Okay, that was my focus piece. Then the next that I stitched on was my red sampler. And my red sampler this time is, I showed you this from Hands Across the Sea, Maria Vincenza Larikia. She, on her, where is it? On the pattern, it shows that she spells her name I-A at the end, and the title on the pattern just has A. So I'm going to say Larikia. I don't know if it's correct or not, but this is the one I'm working on. And as I told you, I'm going to be stitching it on 56 count. And this is a very wide, and so it's a lot of thread, a lot of fabric. So I have it on a hoop, so I can control that extra fabric and not let it get in the way of my hands. Yes, I left my needle in there because it's silk and a special needle, and I don't want to have to hunt for it. So that's where it is right now. I was a bit nervous about starting on 56 count, but it's just fine. I adjust my magnifier and lamp, of course, so that I can see it. So I can see it. I do the same thing I do when I'm stitching 40 count or 36 count, whatever. I adjust the lamp and magnifier to make it easily visible, and it is not a problem. Now I ordered number 10 beading needles because I have been told, I think by a Flosstuber, that that's what Jean Lee does from the attic. She likes 56 count. Okay, here's the beading needle. You can't see it. You see it? Oh, you can't see it. I'm sorry. All that reflection. See all the lamps in here. It's long, to my hand, it's too long. I'm very clumsy trying to stitch with that. Now, I know now that beading needles come in petites also. So the next time I place an order for anything, wherever I'm ordering from, I will order petite needles, the beading needles. So I switched out to a size 28 needle for this. It's fine. It works okay, but I know that the beading needle would be thinner, and I will switch when I get the replacement. So that's the stitching I did in the last 2 weeks. Okay, some haul. Well, of course, I had to order the Weeks Dye Works straw bonnet. So I'm not going to pay postage for one skein of thread. So I had, let's see, I thought, well, what else can I throw in there? Well, for Jane Hopkins, I was afraid I might run out of this one, which is the color that's going to be used in the satin stitch, because I started with not a full skein. It was pretty full, but I had started it and I didn't want to run out, so I had to throw that one in there also. And of course I ordered the number 10 beading needles. They're Mill Hill brand. And I decided to throw in a pattern that's on my wish list. Mary Snow, Hands Across the Sea. That's a sweet little pattern. Well, it'll be, on 40 count, it's about 11 by 8.5. So that's not huge. It's a sweet thing. Okay, so I will start getting that kitted up, and she will get a bag and a project bag and get into the rotation. Okay, my plans moving ahead. Now you can see in my book of days, I've checked off the things I've done. I've done my focus piece, I've done my 3 days on the red sampler, and I've done my other sampler 7 days. So I have left to do the seasonal and small, and the Forget-Me-Not. The Forget-Me-Not is the Katie Strachan project that I'm going to do and get it mounted on that box. And it's coming from Modern Folk Embroidery, Forget-Me-Not. And I'm using a dark, well, I'll show you when I start. I haven't started stitching it yet, so I'll show you when I start. And then the seasonal small that I'm going to do, sorry for bending away, is Brenda Gervais, the Snowball, and I started number 6 and have number 7 to finish. So those last 2 I will work on. I might be able to get those done in that 3 days. And if not, I have more days. Because my plan only has 8 more days of required stitching, and there are, what did I think, 11, 12? Anyway, there are more days, so then at that point I'll decide what I'm going to spend more time on. That is it for today. I didn't have a lot of haul, and not a lot of, and of course I've shown all the quilts I have here in Florida, so I don't have a new quilt to show you. That'll happen when I get back to Kentucky in April. So, thanks for stopping by. I'm so happy that you stopped. Please, if you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe and like and all the things. I'm looking forward to hitting 3,000 subscribers, and I will be having a giveaway then. So, have good days stitching, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thanks. Bye-bye.